Welcome to another episode of the Multifamily Movers podcast. I'm the host today, Gonzalez-Barbara, VP of Investments here at South Coast Commercial. Today I have the honor of introducing Liam, and he is one of our newest agents here at South Coast Commercial. He's going to tell you a little bit about himself today and what life has been like the first couple months here at South Coast. Welcome to the podcast, Liam. Thanks
for having me, Alexio. You know, it's a pretty awesome time to be here on your show. It's been fun here at South Coast the past couple months, just learning the industry and been making a lot of phone calls for sure. So it's been definitely hitting the phones and making as many connections as I can and just trying to find a way to differentiate myself from all the other brokers that are in this office and in many other offices across the county. So it's been fun though. It's been really fun.
Awesome, man. Well, I think you had a great attitude about the whole thing. You've definitely come with an open mind and just that eagerness to learn and be aggressive and spend the time and put in the work. And that's really what it takes. I've talked a couple times on this show about how it's not really a cakewalk being a broker, especially in San Diego. It's a competitive market. And you really have to want it. If you're going to come in and kind of half-ass and expect to see a paycheck, you're going to be waiting a very long time if you know, you may never see one. So you really have to come in like a shark, and I think you brought that mentality and energy to the game. So on that note, why don't you talk about, you know, you've had a pretty interesting pitch with people. It seems to be resonating well, and you're really leaning into it. Why don't you tell the listeners, you know, what you found to be working for you as a broker?
Well, growing up in Southern California, and my mom was also a marine biologist, I'm very involved in like the ocean marine area. So I grew up fishing and diving for all sorts of tuna and yellowtail and lobster, and oftentimes I would just give out this fish to friends and family and pretty much anybody I'd meet for free, just because a lot of people really like seafood. But on the phones, one of the days, I don't know why I asked, but I just asked one of the people I was talking to if they like seafood or not. And they happened to say yes, and I got a meeting, and potentially we might do some exchanges down the road and stuff like that. But once I started seeing success with that, I pretty much just ask everybody and anybody on the phones if they like seafood, or if there's some little way I can weasel or kind of find my niche in to give them value. I mean, right now I'm younger in the space. There's not a whole lot of stuff I really can provide besides the connections we have here at South Coast and some of those resources. But a lot of these guys we're talking to are pretty sophisticated investors. A lot of them have a lot of properties across the county. So to be different and to try to get them stoked on who I am and try to meet as many people as possible, just started, we call it slanging seafood here around the office.
Seafood Slanger.
Seafood Slanger. But I mean, I used to do it too when I would sell like kind of kayaks and fishing boats back in the day too. I would give it around to a bunch of my clients who also were in the real estate game but bought a lot of kayaks from me. I'd always hit them up with some lobster. So just running around the county. Like yesterday I was in El Cajon dropping a couple off to a couple property owners, and today I'll be up in Rancho Santa Fe dropping some more off. So just running around, dropping off lobster.
Nice. Well, especially when you start, I can attest you really have to find any way you can differentiate yourself, because like there are a lot of brokers in this industry. And I like to say that, you know, we all call the same people, but not everybody gets along with everybody. Everybody's going to have a certain draw or something that interests you in particular. And so for that reason, you really have to lean into yourself and what makes you you. And that's what's going to help differentiate you. And then organically, the clients will come. You're going to meet the people who are just turned on by Liam. And those are the people who are going to want to work with you. You know, there's a lot of options out there. They want to work, you know, sellers in this market and in any industry want to work with people that they like, not with people that, you know, just know what they're doing. They want to have a little bit of both. So you're doing a great job of leaning in. I'm telling you, it's going to pay off. And I can see you hustling and making the right connections. And I think a lot of the listeners of this podcast may have already met you before, and
potentially. I mean, I've been running around the county for a while, so I'm going to keep doing it. And if you guys ever need seafood and you wanna talk about real estate, let me know. You can reach me at my cell, 858. Just kidding. the seafood plug. No, but yeah.
Well, very cool, man. So, you know, what has drawn you to real estate in the first place? You're still, well, first of all, you're still a student at San Diego State.
Mm-hmm.
What year are you?
I'm in my junior year right now. I just transferred from community college. So doing school, just finished up finals, which it feels pretty good to be done with that. But yeah, now I'm just banging the phones full time. So it's
there
been fun.
You go.
Yeah.
Full time through the holidays. There it is.
Yeah.
So what is your major and
Yeah. So I'm studying finance at San Diego State. A lot of the people who I see have done very well in the space, like a lot of my mentors and stuff, they end up studying finance. So for me, I like the degree aspect of it, but it's more so to just make connections and meet a lot of people and a lot of families who potentially I can do business with in the future. Cool. So yeah, just trying to meet as many people as I can, and it's been fun kind of going to San Diego State and combining the real estate stuff. But the reason why I got into real estate really was, for one, I just seeing a lot of the people who were like affluent and were doing well off and had financial security in their life growing up, usually were involved some way or another with real estate. And then once I started selling the fishing kayaks and the fishing boats, a lot of the people who would come to buy these expensive like kind of water toys, they also were involved in the real estate industry in some sort of way. And then yeah, like one of them, for example, Roberto, gave him a bunch of lobster, and he toured me around a bunch of his like anywhere from 80 to 100 unit properties across the county. And seeing that for the first time, I was already really interested in the space. I knew I wanted to get into it, but really seeing the possibilities here and someone do it who started from nothing, it just really like kind of sparked my industry. And he was one of the guys who actually pushed me to get into brokerage, to learn the analysis, to learn the fundamentals of the space and make as many connections as possible. And that's gotten me into a bunch of awesome rooms like with you and so many other people who went from brokerage onto the principal side or just went straight into the principal side from whatever venture before. So yeah, I just really have that passion of building something for my family. And then also too, coming from a single mom, single parent, kind of building some sort of subsidized housings for single moms within my portfolio as well too.
So that's a big goal of yours?
That's a big goal, yeah. I mean, the money's good and that's all great, but at a certain point, it's not really going to make a difference in my opinion. And I feel like my purpose in life is to give back to all the kids and mothers who went through a similar situation like me, who are fighting every day just to keep their house pretty much most of their life. So really want to just give back any way I can and hopefully make an impact on future generations to come and other kids so that they can better their family. So
I think that's awesome, man. You have a great head on your shoulders.
Thanks.
On that note, I know you've only been in the industry a bit here. You're say going into your junior year of college?
Yeah, I'm like halfway through my junior year right now.
Halfway through your junior year. So you got another year left and you'll be full-time. At this point in your career, have you experienced any indications of bad business, good business? What does good business mean to you?
Good business is definitely something that I think comes at the forefront before anything. I mean, you talk about it a lot too, but really doing the right thing at the right time always is super important. I mean, your name and your reputation in this industry and in all industries of your life pretty much is huge. If you have a bad name, you're probably not going to do good business in the future, and you're also probably not going to get good opportunities, good deals, and good ways to make money. So absolutely. For me, I mean, just from being in the industry a little bit and seeing things from the outside, I already know some of the guys who have a bad rap and a bad name, and for that reason they're not even on our call list if we find something cool. Mm-hmm. And so for me, I want to make sure I'm always on that list for whoever I'm working with and everybody who wants to work with me, and just preaching good business all the time, because there's enough money to be made. It's not you don't have to screw people over or really whittle people down to make an extra buck, when if you just do the right things consistently, your earning potential and your capacity over a long period of time is going to be much greater than making the quick buck now and screwing someone over.
Well, it's really impressive to hear you say that, especially at such a young age, because for a lot of people, it comes a lot later in life. At your level, at your age, 20 years old, to be saying the things you're saying, I think you're going to go really far in life. So that's really cool to hear that.
Thanks, man.
Well, Liam, I'm really excited to see what you do in
Yeah.
this industry, and I think that there's a deal to be had really soon here. And you've got the grit, you've got the potential, and
I know,
you've got
man.
the right mindset. So
Yeah,
can't
the
wait to
follow-ups have been key the past couple of days.
Yeah.
We'll see if anything pops.
Well, let's see if anybody actually wants to get. I want to see what happens when someone closes a deal with you. I mean, what do they get? Like a lobster buffet? They get.
Dude, I know. I've been just handing them out,
shrimp
so
tower.
we'll see. We'll probably have to do some sort of sushi night or something. Well, my mom makes some pretty good sushi, so we may have a little sushi party.
Hey, on that note, I really wanted to just finish here. You've told some pretty cool stories about how you get these lobster. Tell me, what's the process? How do you get a lobster?
Well, process usually starts the night before, prepping my dive gear, and then I'm waking up at like 3 a.m., getting in the water around 4:15 or so, with my light and my gloves, my bag on my waist, and pretty much early. It's dark, it's cold. There's a bunch of weird creatures around,
Whereabouts you go? Out in the Point Loma?
Yeah, like Point Loma and La Jolla area, but pretty much just going to be looking in rocks anywhere from 0 to 20, 25 feet. And
Pitch black.
Pitch black with a light, and sometimes you see them in the grass. If they're in the grass, it's sick because it's just flat sand like this where you can just grab them, but most oftentimes they're in the cave. And like this last one I grabbed, it was a tough dive because they're all really tight in the rocks and deep in there, but there's a rock that was sitting like this on some sand, and I saw just barely like 2 little eyes and little thorns hopping out like this. And yeah, when you see stuff like that, just kind of trying to fit your hand in the cave and grabbing them. And if that one was really big, so I had to drop all my other stuff and grab with 2 hands and pull it out, and it was like as big as my torso. So yeah, just going and finding these little creatures. And then also just for me, I'm big on just taking care of the animal as much as you can throughout the whole process, not letting it suffer, just making it an ease process. Just respect it, because we are harvesting these beautiful animals from the ocean. And my favorite thing is to share them. And when people send me photos, like you sent me a photo of your lobster mac and cheese at one time, lobster tacos, dude.
Nothing like fresh lobster.
It's pretty sick. So whenever you guys want seafood, I'm your plug, man. Let me know. I'm out there all the time.
Slanger.
Boom.
Sylvia.
Awesome.
Hey, what's it like when you actually pick up a lobster? Like, do they just kind of like give up, or what
for the
happens? 20
first,
feet
it
down?
depends. It depends on, like, I guess the attitude of the lobster, if that makes any sense. Like, it's weird. Sometimes the small ones, you have to really fight to grab them and to get them out. And sometimes the big ones, like, you grab them and they're just super mellow. So like that big one was pretty mean. It was actually one of the gnarliest.
These things like have a huge tail. They're flapping.
Yeah, they got a huge tail. You have gloves and their spines, but usually you try to grab them on the back, and if you grab them on kind of their back head area, their legs open up, so they're usually pretty mellow, but like they get pretty crazy. So usually the big, like when I catch a big one, I'll use 2 hands and grab it, and then I'll put it immediately on my chest, and usually at that point it'll like kind of grab around me. But
Wetsuit, it's just hugging you.
But I never consider it caught until it's in my bag, because I've had plenty of times where I've got lobsters in my bag and I'm trying to feed it out, and they all start racing out, and you're like, oh my gosh, there's a little lobster. So
that was so much work.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right.
So yeah, it's definitely, everyone is a little different, but it's a fun challenge, and it's worth it when you go out there a bunch. It's almost like cold calling, kind of, because you're like, you're going, and you're either grabbing like smaller ones or there's not really any around, and then you go that one time, or you hit that one dial where there's a massive one just right there for you.
Yeah.
Just the deal coming up, so it's pretty sick.
I can't wait to get out with you on one of these dives soon.
I know, dude. You just got scuba certified. We got to get out there.
You got to do it, man. It's like the next level, lobster diver.
I know, but you can't bring
Slanger in the team.
You can't bring the scuba tank though. You got to free dive.
Yeah, I got to get my.
Got to keep it core.
Under control.
Yeah.
Anyway, hey, thanks for coming on the podcast,
thanks, man.
Liam.
Stoked
to see what you do.